very patriotic welcome for King Charles on his historic royal visit to Canada. Tonight, we're in Ottawa, too, where the King will open Parliament, a rare move with a message.
It's a good day for Canada.
Canadiana on display, signals of sovereignty amid threats from the U.S.
It certainly sometimes feels like the King is being used.
Quite frankly, he is.
We break down the rewards and possible risks of the King's visit. A horrific scene in the UK, 27 people hurt after a vehicle plows into a parade celebrating Liverpool's soccer victory.
Hell on earth. It was terrifying. It genuinely was terrifying.
What we know about the driver and the motive. And delays piling up at Vancouver's airport frustrated passengers and pilots.
Thank you for your patience. Please write your MP and let them know what's going on.
How a shortage of air traffic controllers could affect your next flight.
This is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault in Ottawa.
Thanks for joining us. Just hours from now, steps from where we are tonight in the nation's capital, King Charles will enter the Senate of Canada building and deliver a throne speech. A monarch has only done that twice before. A king has never done it. This is a moment meant to make a point. Charles arrived in Ottawa today alongside Queen Camilla for a two-day visit at a delicate time as the U.S. questions Canada's sovereignty. This trip is designed to highlight what sets Canada apart. The Governor-General's message to King Charles today, welcome home. And that welcome was echoed by the crowds of Canadians who turned out to see the royal couple in person. Ashley Burke spoke with some of them.
A ceremonial welcome for a king making history. This visit, the strongest demonstration yet of the royal support for Canada's sovereignty. The Prime Minister's invitation designed to send another message to Donald Trump that Canada's not for sale. Out came the displays of red and white almost right away. So too at the next stop, a farmer's market, where what sets Canada apart, its distinct identity, culture and history, all presented to the King. He shared at a national pastime and met this family from Syria who've rebuilt their life and business here.
We're very strong with your king, my king, like all the Canadian, like same one person.
Canadians waited hours to get as close as they could.
I only got a glimpse of them, but I'm still so happy to be here.
Just to see it in person so close, it's like a dream.
Part of that dream sending a strong message south.
We're never going to be part of the United States, so I hope that when Trump sees this, he have a more strong determination to drop this idea.
Do you think Trump will listen to the message being sent today? Will it cut through?
I don't think he'll listen, which is unfortunate, but I hope that it tells him and it shows him that United Kingdom isn't just America's special relationship, but Canada's special relationship as well.
The King stopping briefly to meet those who served this country in decades past.
There's nothing more you can say except I'm proud. I'm proud to be a Canadian.
The Prime Minister next to pass by, keeping his message short.
So it's a good day for Canada.
It's not raining.
It's not raining, the sun is shining, the future is bright, the land is strong.
At Rideau Hall, the royals tending to that land. A new blue beech tree planted, a symbol of steadfastness.
The main event of this trip is tomorrow. The King will read the speech from the throne here just nearby at the Senate, and it's the first time it's being delivered by a monarch in nearly 50 years.
That's fantastic. So obviously we're talking about a historic moment, one that carries weight.
It does, and this is a chance for the government to have the King read out their words, lay out their priorities, as well as their vision for Canada, and that is a powerful act, and it's one that they hope that Trump will listen to. President Trump admires and respects the King and the royals, and since he hasn't made one of his 51st state threats since Carney's visit to the White House, but that doesn't necessarily mean that anything has changed.
Anything could happen. Ashley Burke, it's always great to see you in person. Fantastic. Thank you. So the royal visit wasn't the only dose of pageantry and procedure Ottawa saw today. It was also the opening of a new parliament, Rafi Boudjikanian has what's changed and what might be coming.
A day of firsts on Parliament Hill. This veteran Quebec Liberal MP ushered into the role of Speaker of the House.
I would remind members that we are at the beginning of a mandate in the selfish hope that you will afford me a little grace period.
Francis Scarpaleggia will be the new Commons referee, voted in by fellow MPs of all parties to trade his own political affiliation and votes in the House for the responsibility of maintaining its decorum. This was also the Prime Minister's first day in the chamber.
I have much to learn from the members of this great House. I will make mistakes. I have no doubt that you will call them out for good reason.
Just 3 seats shy of a majority, the Liberals have now lost one more potential vote as they set out to pass an ambitious agenda.
How can you afford that, given you're so close to a majority?
Well, I don't know what to say to that. We're going to have a Liberal Speaker. The House elects a Speaker.
A first for the Conservatives is that their leader is excluded from the Commons. Andrew Scheer sitting in for Pierre Poilievre after he lost the seat last month and has to wait for a summer by-election.
This is where the government is held to account. They have an enormous amount of power, and we, parliamentarians, must provide ruthless scrutiny.
And then there's the NDP, returning to Ottawa with 7 MPs and no official party status. This means they might not be able to sit on committees and could lose their turn to speak in question period. The New Democrats negotiating with the government.
We've already made some progress. For instance, we have access to the lobby. We've kept our offices.
The NDP, the Bloc Québécois, and the Conservatives are also trying to push the government into tabling a spring budget, while the Liberals say they won't until the fall, meaning the first parliamentary clash could be just around the corner. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
And so, Chief Political Correspondent Rosie Barton is here with me now. It's fantastic to be beside you. Tomorrow, Rosie, you're going to be hosting special coverage of what comes next. That's the throne speech.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
Listen, in terms of content, it's going to be very familiar to many Canadians, the things that the government has been talking about for some time, trying to bring down the cost of living for Canadians, trying to strengthen the economy, trying to do some of these big national projects the Prime Minister has been talking about. The symbolism, as we've been talking about, so important, obviously, for tomorrow. It sends a strong message, yes, to Donald Trump, but I think it also sends a strong message to Canadians. Here are the ways that we are different: a constitutional monarchy, a different identity, a different culture. Everyone will be listening to the speech, but listen for those introductory remarks from the King as well, Adrian, to see whether he lends some support overtly to Canada when he has his own moment to talk.
That's his one window.
That's his one window.
So that speech officially opens Parliament, and then they have to get busy.
Yeah, this is really when the rubber hits the road for the government. An ambitious agenda that the Prime Minister has been talking about, very short timeline, 4 weeks really in just this sitting. So as of tomorrow, his legislative agenda can start, and he is going to see whether these big ambitions that he has can fit inside a minority parliament, or will he be tested, even thwarted, by the process and the politics.
Okay, Rosie, thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
So you can catch Rosie and that special tomorrow morning, beginning at 9 a.m. on CBC Television, CBC News Network, everywhere you stream CBC News. And then at 5 p.m. Eastern, be sure to watch Power and Politics. David Cochrane will interview Prime Minister Mark Carney. We will also have the highlights on The National. Turning to other news, in Liverpool, public celebration turned to shock and horror when a car suddenly plowed into a crowd of parade goers. 47 people were hurt, including children. As Briar Stewart explains, the driver is in custody, but exactly what caused this, what the motivation is unclear.
Hundreds of thousands lined the streets in Liverpool, England, celebrating the soccer club winning the Premier League. But as the parade wound down, the festivities turned to chaos. Videos taken from the scene appeared to show people attempting to stop a vehicle driving down a still closed street. And then it accelerated.
Honestly, people scattered like bowling pins. The change in the mood from what has been a glorious, glorious day to just hell on earth. It was terrifying.
The fear then turned to anger. The back window of the vehicle was smashed. Some in the crowd surrounded it while police tried to secure the scene. Dozens were injured, including 4 children. Police say the driver, a 53-year-old British man from Liverpool, was arrested.
And we are not currently looking for anyone else in relation to it. The incident is not being treated as terrorism.
Police say they had robust traffic safety plans in place, but there are questions about how a vehicle could get so close. There have been a number of recent cases of drivers plowing into crowds, including in Vancouver, where 11 were killed at a Filipino festival last month, and in January, when a man deliberately rammed the crowd on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, killing 14. While it's not clear just what happened in Liverpool and why, part of the investigation will include the security precautions that were in place as the street swelled with fans during such a high-profile event. Briar Stewart, CBC News, London.
Israeli airstrikes have killed more than 50 people in Gaza, including children, according to local health officials. While in Jerusalem's Old City, Tom Perry shows us groups of nationalist Israelis called for more violence while marking an annual celebration.
Thousands of flag-waving nationalist Israelis filling the streets, celebrating Jerusalem Day, commemorating the Israeli takeover of East Jerusalem and its historic Old City in the Six-Day War of 1967.
It's a holiday of Jerusalem, and we're happy to be here and to say it's our country.
In the Old City's normally bustling Muslim quarter, shops are shut tight, merchants on guard against crowds of young Israeli men, some shouting anti-Arab slogans. The cry from this crowd, "May your village burn." In Gaza, the threat of destruction goes beyond words, with Israel continuing its bombardment, striking a school overnight where Palestinians forced from their homes had been seeking shelter. Local health officials say dozens were killed, including children. People were in pieces, people were burnt, says Ala Kabaj, whose family lived in a tent by the school. It's terrifying to wake up to fire, he says. It's not easy. Israel's military says the school was being used by militants to plan attacks, but provided no evidence. At the same time, people in Gaza are still scrambling for food. A trickle of supplies has been allowed in, but there are questions about how it will be delivered. The head of a new, controversial aid group the U.S. and Israel selected to distribute food in Gaza abruptly resigned. Jake Wood stepped down from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, citing concerns about the group's impartiality and independence, urging Israel to ease its tight restrictions on aid shipments and allow people in Gaza to get the help they need. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation says it's already named a new interim director, already begun operations distributing aid in Gaza, where the need is great and the supply so far has been woefully short. Tom Perry, CBC News, Jerusalem.
Students at a high school in Walkerton, Ontario, arrived for the first day of class since the death of 4 classmates and 1 teacher in a horrifying crash. Walkerton District Community School now tries to return to some semblance of normal after the deaths of Olivia Rourke, Rowan McLeod, Cadence Forum, Danica Baker, all aged 16 to 17 years old, and their teacher and coach, Matt Eckert. They were all killed Friday in a crash involving a transport truck and another SUV. They were on their way back from a softball tournament. Well, the memory of an NHL player was questioned again today in the sex assault trial of 5 former World Junior Hockey players. The Crown witness was back in court where he testified about an on-ice injury he suffered. Katie Nicholson takes us through the cross-examination and the potential setback for the prosecution.
Dylan Dubé walks into court ahead of a favorable ruling. The Crown had hoped to enter potentially damaging text messages from his former World Junior teammate Brett Howden into evidence. Duber was smacking this girl's ass so hard, like it looked like it hurt so bad. But Justice Maria Caracia denied the Crown's application, its third and final attempt. Dubé and 4 of his former World Junior Hockey teammates, Michael McLeod, Alex Formenton, Carter Hart, and Cal Foote, are accused of sexually assaulting a woman in 2018. They have all pleaded not guilty. The text messages took on an outsized importance to the Crown when Howden, who is not charged in the matter, was unable to recall earlier accounts of what he saw happen in a London, Ontario hotel room. His memory was so poor, Carter Hart's lawyer, Megan Savard, asked Howden about a devastating hit he took in 2022, which knocked him unconscious.
You see Howden kind of going down, and there's the hit.
And whether that may have impacted his memory. Have you noticed that since you suffered your head injury that you've had more trouble remembering things than you did before? He said it's definitely got a lot harder over time. Whatever the reason, it means evidence the Crown had hoped for hasn't materialized. This former senior Crown, who isn't involved in the trial, says the exclusion of the texts weakens the case against Dubé.
With all the inconsistencies floating around, it certainly decreases the likelihood that Mr. Dubé would be found guilty.
As the day wrapped, Howden was shown video of himself from inside the bar earlier that night in which he appeared to tap the complainant on her butt. Howden said he didn't remember it and he only counted 1 tap. Defense lawyer Juliana Greenspan suggested it was a few taps. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, London, Ontario.
The man who stole a world-famous portrait of Winston Churchill from the Chateau Laurier Hotel just steps from right here now faces nearly 2 years in jail. But Jeffrey Woods plans to appeal that sentence, according to his lawyer. In 2022, the hotel revealed its original photo portrait by Yusuf Karsh had been replaced by a framed fake. An international investigation led to an Italian collector who returned it once he learned its story. We have exclusive video tonight from on board a delayed Air Canada flight and the frustration coming from the cockpit.
Since we got the time, if you want to write a letter to your MP and tell them what's going on, maybe they could address this problem.
What the pilot told passengers was really behind the delays coming up. And the shove caught on camera, the French president pushed by his wife. How Macron describes their moment on the tarmac. And the King and Queen are here in Ottawa for a short but very symbolic visit.
It certainly sometimes feels like the king is being used. Quite frankly, he is.
Why this time, it's different. The National is back from the nation's capital in just 2 minutes. We're in Ottawa tonight as the nation's capital hosts the royals. King Charles and Queen Camilla are in town for a 2-day visit, one steeped in Canadiana and carried out with an eye to the south. This visit coming as the U.S. questions Canada's sovereignty and Canadians lean into their pride. Well, Ukraine is bracing for yet another wave of potential Russian airstrikes tonight. It has been bombarded for 3 nights in a row. Aaron Collins has the reaction from a U.S. president who again lashed out at Vladimir Putin.
Memorial Day in the U.S. Capitol. Celebrations and ceremony honoring America's military.
And we owe them everything and much, much more.
Donald Trump marking those U.S. soldiers lost in battle, while pulling back on support for Ukraine's military. Overnight, another savage aerial bombardment of that country. Officials on the ground say Russia fired nearly 1,500 drones and missiles into Ukraine over the past week. Ukraine's president lamenting the constant Russian strikes, constant killings, and relentless assaults. The Kremlin insists their attack was a retaliatory strike launched after Ukraine sent its own missiles deep into Russia. European allies no longer limiting how far Ukraine can fire the weapons they deliver.
The horrible attacks over the weekend proved that what we unfortunately already know, Russia is not interested in peace.
after another day of punishing attacks on Ukraine, including reports of Russian advances into Ukrainian territory, pressure ramping up for new sanctions on Russia.
Simply by denying income to the Russian state to finance the war. War is very expensive, and Russia is having a lot of pressure on its economy.
Something Donald Trump appeared to at least consider over the weekend.
I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all.
President Trump is clearly frustrated with Vladimir Putin, calling the Russian president crazy on social media, lashing out at Volodymyr Zelensky too, saying everything out of his mouth causes problems. More strong words from Trump, but so far little action to end this conflict. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Washington.
French President Emmanuel Macron urged people to calm down after video showed a moment of apparent conflict between him and his wife.
On fait dire à une vidéo beaucoup de bêtises.
A video can be made to say a lot of nonsense, Macron said. After his plane arrived in Vietnam, he was seen being shoved in the face, then noticing the camera, giving a little wave. He later offers his arm to his wife, Brigitte, which she declines. Macron says they were just joking around. Well, in just hours now, the king will deliver the throne speech here in Ottawa.
It's a pretty safe bet. Washington is going to be watching this very closely.
Behind the photo ops and the handshakes is a strong message about Canadian sovereignty. We'll look at why this is far from any normal royal visit next. And in the crowd this afternoon, a special connection that stretches back decades.
You're lucky. We are.
This isn't the first time they've met the king.
What are we going to say to the king?
The National is back with more special coverage from right here in Ottawa. Next. And with that goal, Minnesota Frost clinched back-to-back professional women's hockey league titles on home ice. They beat Canada's Ottawa Charge 2-1 in overtime to take a 3-1 series victory. Tennis great Billie Jean King presented the cup. Now to an exclusive audio recording. A frustrated Air Canada pilot gives passengers his opinion on why flights like theirs keep being delayed. John Hernandez investigated what he told them.
It's costs the company a lot of money. It costs business people a lot of money.
Delayed and disillusioned, an Air Canada pilot vents to passengers stuck on the tarmac at Vancouver International Airport.
Since we got the time, if you want to write a letter to your MP and tell them what's going on, maybe they could address this problem.
The problem? A shortage of air traffic control workers. Delays and cancellations at YVR have been mounting for weeks, leading to this rant captured by a CBC reporter.
We believe that there's a lot of evidence that the people in charge of air traffic control in NAV Canada are keeping, like the air traffic controllers are keeping the numbers low to keep the overtime up.
A charge denied by NAV Canada, the private nonprofit that operates air navigation across the country. It is in the midst of a major recruitment blitz to ease its labor crunch. In a statement, it said, "We leave no stone unturned in supporting a candidate's success. As a result, we refute any suggestion that controller trainees are disqualified from training in order to protect overtime." The pilots' union says the shortage is causing problems from coast to coast.
Most people that have traveled, I'll say, have noticed a delay or of some sort somewhere across the system, whether it's in YVR or elsewhere.
Smaller airlines find themselves particularly vulnerable.
Nobody likes getting delayed, and it is often the air operator that is blamed for the delay.
This Indigenous-led airline flies from YVR to Vancouver Island and reports delays nearly every day.
So we're getting delays anywhere between 20 minutes and 2 hours. And when you are operating a 25-minute flight, that's significant.
There are about 2,000 air traffic controllers in Canada. Their union says hundreds more are needed to clear these planes for takeoff. John Hernandez, CBC News, Vancouver.
An Ontario judge has approved the $500 million class action settlement against Loblaw companies and its parent over fixing the price of bread. Loblaw and George Weston Limited admitted to keeping bread prices high over a period of years. Next month, a Quebec court will hear arguments on whether to accept the settlement. If it does, customers who signed on to the suit will receive up to $25 each. Now, it's time to dig deeper into the story shaping our world. Tonight, the King in Canada, a symbolic statement on sovereignty. A Queen's coronation brought 50 Canadian girls on a life-changing odyssey more than 70 years ago.
You're lucky. We are.
Bonded by decades of friendship, we'll revisit that journey and see their latest royal encounter. But first,
this is an historic honor which matches the weight of our times.
the King arrives in Canada. The visit is short but deeply symbolic, while Trump's threats to Canadian sovereignty still loom.
The message that Mark Carney is trying to send is quite clear. Canada is sovereign.
King Charles will deliver that speech from the throne in Ottawa Tuesday, right here in that building right over there, the Senate. Almost 50 years since the last time his mother did that. But this speech, this visit is different. It is layered with meaning about Canadian sovereignty and Canada's place in the world.
Then a prince. Now a king. With Charles on his 20th visit to Canada, this time it's different. And it's not just the title change. It's his shortest official visit ever, all for the main event, opening a new session of Parliament.
This is an historic honor which matches the weight of our times.
Times when Canada's sovereignty is being undermined by our neighbors to the south.
So is it just a reminder, hey, we're not like you?
I would argue it's a reminder and a warning.
The pomp and ceremony associated with royalty on full display here in Ottawa. But here's why this isn't just any royal visit. Let's back up for a little reminder on the role King Charles has been invited to perform.
This is really going to be very, very similar to what the Governor General does each year.
The speech from the throne marks the beginning of every new session of Parliament, setting out the direction the elected government is planning to head in.
This is a speech that is being drafted by our government, by the Carney cabinet.
And this visit wasn't the King's idea. That's not how this works. He has to be invited by the Prime Minister. And don't expect to hear any of Charles's personal thoughts in that speech.
He does not get to have an opinion on it. That is the whole point of having a constitutional monarchy.
It's old hat for the royal family. The monarch does it every year in the United Kingdom.
My lords, pray be seated.
But outside the UK, now that's unusual.
Your Majesty looking ready and as usual.
Charles's mother, Queen Elizabeth II, only ever delivered it twice in Canada. First in 1957, Queen for only a few years at that point.
There was a very different sentiment towards the monarchy at that time that we can't ignore. So it was a really big deal in 1957.
Tens of thousands turning out for a glimpse.
I greet you as your Queen. Together, we constitute the Parliament of Canada.
And then she did it again in 1977 as part of a tour marking her 25 years on the throne.
The new generation fill me with confidence for what Canada can become.
Is a throne speech read by the monarch always just a ceremonial gesture? Well, the Queen did open Parliament in Grenada in the 1980s. It happened to be right after the island was invaded by the United States. Read into that what you will. And now the speech will be read here in Canada by a king for the first time. Why right now? Well, arguably, it's about the Americans. Again, Donald Trump in particular. In an interview with British broadcaster Sky News, Mark Carney admitted the timing is not coincidental.
I think the message that Mark Carney is trying to send is quite clear, that we have friends, we have allies. Canada is not alone. Canada is sovereign. Canada is part of the Commonwealth. Canada has a head of state that it's perfectly happy with.
And remember that word, warning?
And a warning.
What kind of warning?
We will defend our values, our traditions, our history, and because we have this constitutional monarchy, we will never be like the United States.
All of this will be spoken without words, of course, and Charles has been busy for a while, communicating symbolically and silently as Donald Trump's 51st state rhetoric ramped up this year. Royal commentators saw the subtle signs.
The signs are there if you want to look for them, I can tell you.
An outing for Canadian military medals, a red tie worn when meeting Canada's Prime Minister, a maple tree planted on the grounds of Buckingham Palace. All so nuanced that this 24-hour visit to Ottawa feels loud.
I think it's definitely a pretty emphatic statement of the importance of Canadian sovereignty to Canada and to its head of state.
Prince Charles went to sea today, piloting a high-speed rescue launch off Pearson College on Vancouver Island.
Charles's affections for Canada are real. CBC's archives are full of images of the young prince, action man, the UK press used to call him, exploring this country, the eligible bachelor, always up for adventure. Basking in the limelight.
Very interesting indeed, I must say. Bloody cold.
And not afraid of having fun in front of the cameras. But those days are done. How times and titles have changed.
Not only is he Canada's head of state, he also performs that role for 14 other Commonwealth realms, including the UK, which has also been deploying its king, the sovereign of soft power.
Donald Trump has been very open about his respect, admiration, and even affection for the monarchy and for the king himself. We saw that when Keir Starmer presented him with that invitation.
He's a beautiful man, a wonderful man.
Back in February, Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer visited Trump's White House with a letter in his pocket from the king, inviting the president for another state visit.
I'm going to keep that one.
You're going to keep that one?
That's rare for a president in their second term.
This is really special. This has never happened before. This is unprecedented.
I think the government has decided that the way to get concessions out of Donald Trump is by flattery, is by playing to his ego. In a competitive international environment, you use the strengths you have, and if the monarchy is one of our strengths, then I think the government's quite right to deploy it.
In that same interview with Sky News, Carney didn't mince words about how that invitation played for Canadians.
I'll be frank, they weren't impressed by that gesture. Quite simply, given the circumstance.
Mark Carney's intervention on Sky News was really, really striking because it was couched in language you don't normally hear in international diplomacy. Keir Starmer would argue, I think, that he's putting the national interest above anything else, and he sees our national interest as in building bridges in as far as possible with the Trump administration. That isn't to say that Canadians don't have a right to feel awfully annoyed by that lack of solidarity.
It all leaves King Charles playing a delicate balancing act. It certainly sometimes feels like the king is being used.
Quite frankly, he is. And it has been that way for 300 years. But he exercises his responsibilities. He does the kingly things with the consent and with the thumbs up of his prime ministers.
And with the full ceremonial visit, you know the cameras are on.
It's a pretty safe bet. Washington is going to be watching this very closely, but it's kind of a roll of the dice in terms of which way the presidential reaction is going to go.
No guarantees how it will land in Canada either.
There is always a risk.
And that is what?
We know that there are people who are angry with the monarchy. We know that there are going to be MPs at this opening who will be meeting the king who are anti-monarchists. They do not want a king at all. And so there is always a risk that there will be protests, unrest, ugly scenes.
Risks, of course, but already there are some rewards in the images alone. Smiling crowds, Canadian flags, and a sovereign whose mere presence says a lot before he's even said a word.
What the royals choose to wear often sends a message too, and today a piece of jewelry worn by Queen Camilla on her first official visit to Canada did just that. As soon as Queen Camilla stepped out of the plane and into view, her subtle tribute to Canada was clear by her choice of jewelry, the iconic diamond maple leaf brooch. 3 years ago in Windsor Castle, we saw it up close by rare special permission from the Queen, gifted by King George VI to his Queen ahead of their visit here in 1939, and then by her daughter, Elizabeth, on her first Canadian visit in 1951. It is rooted in royal family history and steeped in symbolism.
By wearing a more understated dress, it directs the attention towards her brooch.
A silent but powerful message reinforcing Canada's sovereignty and its place in the Commonwealth. Speaking of long royal stories, see those 3 women meeting King Charles today? That was actually a reunion of sorts.
It's been a great joy for me to meet you all after all these years.
He's the kind of leader that we need in this world right now.
Their connection to the royal family dates back decades. They're known as the Coronation Girls. You'll meet them next. A life-changing journey more than 70 years ago for a group of Canadian women who became known as the Coronation Girls.
It was kind of a fairy tale, you know. We were ordinary kids.
How these so-called ordinary kids developed an extraordinary relationship with the crown that lasted a lifetime. Among the lucky few to meet King Charles in Ottawa today were 3 women who were there as his mother was crowned in 1953. That experience set their lives on a remarkable course.
At the edge of the tree planting at Rideau Hall, the loyal look on. Keep an eye on these 3 women, not just faces in a crowd. And that brief, sweet moment wasn't just happenstance. They each have more than 70 years of history with the royal family.
You're lucky.
We are. Yeah. And we don't quite understand it.
Carol Shipley says even the way it all started was a bit of a shock. 1953, 50 girls from every province and territory nominated by their high schools to be part of an extraordinary 7-week trip to tour the UK, to be right there on Oxford Street to see the young Queen at her coronation. All of this sponsored by Canadian businessman Garfield Weston.
A man ahead of his time, because he recognized that when you offer young people an opportunity like this, it can be transformative. He was wanting to strengthen bonds between the UK and Canada. We would start on the West Coast, and girls would board the train all the way along according to where they lived.
The Western Goodwill Tour.
You must have felt a little bit like a type of royalty yourself.
It was kind of a fairy tale, you know. We were ordinary kids. Most of us had never really been very far.
Young women celebrating the coronation of a young queen. As she went on to live her storied life, they moved on too.
These are treasures you have here.
Had relationships, kids, careers, largely losing contact with each other until the early 2000s, when Carol started searching for them all and for those long dormant friendships.
So, and this is the list, the original list that you used to sort of be the sleuth to find everybody.
Yeah, that just kind of lit, the fire lit. And so the reunions just kept happening.
Do you lean on each other?
We began to, and now I'm really talking to at least one every day. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Carol says they've taught each other about living and dying. That you see these pictures and moments and hear their tales now is a credit to a documentary team that set about following the women in the film Coronation Girls. They were worried this part of Canada's history could get lost, so the documentarians followed them in December of 2023 when they went back to London together. were invited into Buckingham Palace.
The gate opened and we were going in.
And after a life united by a young queen, suddenly they found themselves face to face with the king.
Oh, my Lord.
Do we stand?
Yes.
Good morning, Your Majesty.
I'm so glad to have a chance of seeing you.
And the stories flowed.
I remember my sister and I had bath time in the evening. My ma used to come up about time wearing the crown to practice. Because you have to get used to how heavy it is.
Oh,
So
yes.
I've never forgotten. I can still remember it vividly.
I immediately liked him. And I liked his grace and his humor.
So were you a civil engineer?
Yeah, I was very civil.
And his genuine interest in each of us. While it was magnificent to see her go by in that golden coach on her coronation day, there was something more profound about meeting him, for me, and for some of the others too, maybe.
It's been a great joy for me to meet you all after all these years. Take care, bless you. Thank you.
Why is that, do you think?
Well, I think he's the kind of leader that we need in this world right now, and I think he's coming to support our struggles. Our sovereignty's been threatened, and he's coming to give that throne speech, and I'm very grateful that he's doing that.
Not girls anymore, but still kind of kids. Planning what to wear, what to say.
I might wear this silk jacket.
That's fantastic.
It is quite fantastic, isn't it? Oh, hello, Barbara.
Learning only days ago that they'd be able to meet the king again, this time in Canada.
What are we going to say to the king?
Well, what did you decide? I said we should discuss it, or else we'll have to speak in unison and just have time to think of one thing.
Just a few representing the more than 30 women still left. All that history, all those friendships, and all that love of Canada for Canada.
So you may have noticed that Carol was wearing something around her neck. It's this. It's a medal given to all the so-called Weston girls in 1953 with part of a poem on it that reads, "'Tis the set of the sails and not the gales that tell the way we go." So what was in 1953 just a poem to those 50 teenage girls has become, Carol says, a bit of a motto for their whole lives, and one Carol thinks makes sense for Canada right now too. A reminder, tomorrow King Charles delivers the throne speech, and CBC News will have special live coverage hosted by Chief Political Correspondent Rosemary Barton. I'll be here too. It all begins at 9 a.m. on CBC Television, CBC News Network, and everywhere, of course, you stream CBC News. The National is back with more on the King's visit today here in Ottawa right after the break. Well, what a day here in Ottawa. A royal visit is never a dull moment. This one has many layers to it. Along with roaring turnout to see the King and Queen, there was a whole lot of Canadian pride on display. So let's take another look at some of the highlights.
Hip, hip, hooray! The King and Queen are here!
I was the first one right at the bottom of the stairs when the King got off the plane. So it was an awesome opportunity. I would say it's a once-in-a-lifetime one, but we're going to do it again tomorrow when he gets back on the plane to leave.
I'm so excited to see King Charles and Queen Camilla. I only got a glimpse of them, but I'm still so happy to be here.
This is our next generation, and we are grateful for the connections that we have to the monarchy.
I got to shake his hand and Queen Camilla's hand. They're professionals. They were so grateful. They spoke to all the vendors.
The king and the queen, they ask me what you have. I tell him I have fresh falafel and fresh bread. I feel so happy, the great day for my life today, yes.
I never thought that I would actually get to shake hands with him.
That's just a turkey.
I was shaking, then I was crying. And now I'm so grateful and thankful to see the king and the queen. So it's like a dream came true.
I quite love that a turkey making a break for it in Rideau Hall made the highlight reel. I also hope their majesties are sleeping because that was a day and a half. They've got another big one tomorrow. So we thank them for being with us. We thank you for being with us. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. We'll be back here from Ottawa tomorrow morning and tomorrow night with more special coverage. Until then, take care.